Mortgage experts expect the Bank of Canada's decision to hold its key interest rate at 4.5% will add heat to the country's real estate markets. They say the second consecutive hold since the rates started climbing in March 2022 will likely give buyers and sellers more confidence to make a purchase soon. Their predictions come after buyers have sat on the sidelines of most markets for months, even as prices have dropped. Now, this is likely due to rising interest rates that make borrowing more costly. However, when some real estate boards like Toronto and Vancouver reported sales figures for March, they said they were seeing buyers beginning to reemerge and eye the sluggish market. Well, joining us now to give us his outlook on one of the top real estate markets in Canada is Mr. Jason Mercer, Chief Market Analyst at the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, also known as TREEB. Sir, welcome to Forum Daily.
Thanks very much for having me.
So as we mentioned, experts expect the housing market to heat up following the Bank of Canada's announcement yesterday. What are TREB's predictions when it comes to the GTA housing market?
Yeah, certainly when we released our outlook at the beginning of the year, what we were anticipating was a bit of a year or two halves, sort of seeing an acceleration or the beginning of an acceleration, at least in sales as we move through the spring, and even seeing stronger activity in the second half of the year. As number one, buyers became more accustomed to this higher interest rate environment, and then at the same time seeing some relief, especially for people who are taking on, say, fixed rate mortgages moving forward, where we've actually already seen bond yields trend lower. And that'll translate through into more accommodative borrowing costs in the second half of this year.
And we know TREB recently released its monthly Market Watch report just last week, indicating a tightening housing market. So, what would you say are the key takeaways from the March report?
Yeah, I think on the one hand, we are starting to see more interest in home purchases as people move off the sidelines. But at the same time, there's still a really constrained supply of housing, and that's really across all types across the GTA. And so we're starting to see more competition between home buyers, and what that does over time is it exerts upward pressure on pricing.
And have you been seeing any similar patterns in other major Canadian housing markets like Vancouver?
Well, I think certainly, across the country, especially in major centers, you're going to see a similar pattern unfold. And certainly, Vancouver is a good example where, initially you would have seen people move to the sidelines because you're already in a higher priced environment. And then obviously interest rates had an additional affordability hit. And so as consumers become accustomed to the higher interest rate environment and adapt their household balance sheet, and take advantage of lower borrowing costs moving forward, you'll see more of these households moving back into the marketplace.
All right, Mr. Mercer. So, what are some of the key indicators that TREB is keeping its eyes on in April as it continues to assess the GTA housing market?
Yeah, it really comes down to that relationship between demand and supply. I mean, I think certainly we'll see more sales in April than we did in March. But at the same time, listings are constrained, and that's really across all segments of the market. Whether you're talking about detached homes down through condominium apartments, I will say, one of the segments of the market that'll be driving growth as we move forward will be first-time buyers. I mean, we did polling at the end of last year in conjunction with Ipsos, and we found that buying intentions are up for 2023, but driving that increase in intentions were first-time buyers. I think there's a lot of people out there that are sort of weighing their options between renting and buying, and they've seen double-digit rent growth for 1 and 2 bedroom condominium apartments in the GTA, are now taking a closer look at purchasing a home, even in this higher interest rate environment.
Now, in terms of home buyers already or homeowners who may be up for a mortgage renewal this year, we're seeing a lot of concerns among them. What sort of advice does TREB have for them amid this high interest rate environment?
Well, certainly everyone's situation is different in terms of their household balance sheet. But over the last year, we have seen a lot of households, become in tune with this higher interest rate environment. And so they may have adjusted their spending. They may also be looking at, considering a different type of home purchase. If you're looking at a detached this time last year, maybe they're looking at a semi-detached or townhome, which would mitigate the impact of higher borrowing costs by seeing a lower purchase price, for example.
All right, Mr. Mercer, a quick 30 seconds left here, but any advice for new home buyers as they eye this market and the economic conditions around it?
Well, I think certainly, again, when we do our polling, we find that over 80% of intending home buyers are using the services of a realtor, and that makes a lot of sense. I mean, number one, a realtor knows the local market that people are looking to buy and sell in, and number two, they have a network of other professionals that they can bring to bear on that housing purchase.
All right, Mr. Mercer, thank you again for your time today.
Thank you.